When you think about deer hunting, you probably think about something like this. But the part that no one really talks about is waiting for hours and hours in your tree stand, waiting for that moment. So these are the 12 stages of tree stand boredom. Stage 1 is called hope. You were probably looking forward to this hunt for a long time, and as you sit down, you almost expect things to happen immediately. You're confident, you're ready to go, and you're yet to be humbled. Stage 2 is when you enter scenario mode. Before anything, you make sure to stop and picture a bunch of different situations that could happen on this hunt. The deer might come from the left, the right, any different angle, and how you think in your mind, this is where I'm going to get the shot. You play through many different situations. You might even get your bow up and practice aiming. Picture yourself taking the shot. You also pull out your rangefinder to help you determine how far away the deer might be when you take your shot. Stage 3 is hyper-focused. At this stage, you're really focused, expecting something to happen, looking closely, listening carefully, but to your surprise, nothing probably happens at this point. But that's only until stage 4 rolls around, which is squirrel paranoia. You hear some leaves crunching and a twig snap, and you look over, all excited, your heart rate is way up, you're very nervous, and then it's just a squirrel. And as the hunt continues, it might start to feel like it's always a squirrel. Up to this point, boredom hasn't really kicked in yet, but stage 5 is the first time check, and this is when boredom starts to kick in. You feel like you've waited a while, and not looking at your phone will keep you from having the time go by slowly. So you're proud of yourself for getting through to this point. You pick up your phone, or your watch, or whatever. You open it up expecting maybe a half hour or 45 minutes to have gone by, and it's been literally 10 minutes. Stage 6 is the internal debate, and this is mostly for morning hunts. This is when you kind of start to debate with yourself when you should get down. You might say, if nothing happens by 9 o'clock, I'm getting down. If you're hunting in the afternoon, though, this usually doesn't happen because you're sitting until end of shooting time, because the closer you get to the end of shooting time, you know that your chances are way better. But in the case of an afternoon hunt, you're probably saying, I am not getting out here until way later tomorrow. This is way too early, too much sitting. Let's get out a little later next time. Stage 7 is the mental highlight reel. Now that you're committed to staying into this tree stand for a little bit, your mind starts to wander off a little bit. This is when you start thinking of different hunts at this spot or at other spots, replaying those hunting moments in your head while you're hunting. This is a great way to pass time, much slower than you think it's passing, but it still passes time. Stage 8 is the part of boredom where your mind actually leaves the woods. Your body's still in the woods, but your mind is elsewhere. You're sick of thinking about hunting and you just need a change of subject. So some other hobby that you might have, no matter what it is, that's what you start thinking about. For me, I thought of this video idea that I'm making right now while I was in the tree stand. I didn't have the exact thing all laid out, but I got the idea because I was bored and I was thinking of what videos I could post on my YouTube channel. And I also, in that time, was able to predict every NFL team's record next season and what they would do in the playoffs because I was just bored. And football and my YouTube channel are other hobbies that I have outside of hunting. So obviously this can vary a lot person to person because we all have different hobbies. But one thing that usually doesn't vary a lot is stage 9, which is physical discomfort. Whether it's your fingers or toes going numb, or you're actually just sore from sitting in that stand for such a long period, you tell yourself you're fine and you're just almost there, you gotta wait a little longer, and in reality, thinking about the time is making time pass slower. Stage 10 is the false alarm. You feel like you've been out of it for a while and there's nothing around anyways, so you're not really too worried about much except just finishing the hunt and getting home. But the second you hear movement, your hunting sense kicks right back in, your adrenaline rush goes crazy, and you're ready to get your shot. I've shot a lot of deer at this very moment, but it's not always a big deer that you get to shoot. Sometimes it's just a doe coming out or a fawn, something you're not targeting, smaller buck, or maybe it's just another squirrel like we discussed before. But either way, you remember, I'm actually hunting. I'm not just waiting for the time to pass. I have a chance to actually go out here and get something. So let's finish off this hunt the right way. Typically though, it's not super easy to get your deer. You're not going to get it most of the time. And it's usually a false alarm, which is acceptance. You accept that this is hunting. You're not always going to have the high moments where you're getting your deer and you're an adrenaline rush. You're going to have a lot of boring moments that lead up to that, but it just makes it that much more exciting. So you decide, let's just live in the moment and enjoy this hunt. And the final stage is stage 12, where you exit the tree stand. And one of two things could have happened at this point. Either you got your deer and you're super excited and glad that all your waiting paid off, or you're relieved that your boredom is finally done for the day and you're probably going to go back at it again tomorrow. So yeah, these are the moments that no one really talks about or posts videos on or anything like that. These are the moments that makes those good moments as exciting and amazing as they are. And to see all my waiting pay off this year, click on the video on the left side of your screen.